Check it out, listen up, find out what it is all about. Baby, get ready.
Welcome. This is Conversations with Matthew Bronson on KUPR 99.9 FM here in the high desert of Placitas, New Mexico, and of course abqlive.tv. You can go to both sites, kupr.org and abqlive.tv, for archives and streaming. So do it, you'll like it. Today we are speaking with Wendy Wilkins, the organizer or the local representative for the Women's March on Washington, Santa Fe chapter, or that's where you all are going.
Yes.
And who is you all?
Well, this started out with me and 20 of my best friends, or people that
I feel terrible. I only have two best friends.
Yeah. Actually, talking with friends both here in Placitas and in Santa Fe, and several of us individually expressing an interest in attending the Santa Fe March. Well, actually, initially the march in Washington, D.C., and then learning that there was going to be a sister rally and march here in Santa Fe, then that seemed to be a better place to participate, and cheaper.
Live local, protest local.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So I contacted a handful of friends here in Placitas with the idea initially that we could carpool to get up to Santa Fe, and then thinking beyond that we could be a Placitas visible presence at the march in Santa Fe. And that's what it turns out that people were interested in.
Now you and your charming husband have been here, what, 3 or 4 years?
We've been here in Placitas 3 years, and in New Mexico a little over 6 years.
Okay. And you're community and politically involved, so I think this is a reasonable question. Mm-hmm. Do you think when you go to Santa Fe that those people, whoever those people are that will be receiving you, is Placitas an entity that they're aware of?
I think people in Santa Fe do know about Placitas, but to be honest,
you're smiling for a reason.
Well, I have had to tell my friends in Santa Fe, remind them that Interstate 25 actually goes both directions.
Okay.
So I have found that people from Placitas and from Albuquerque generally go to Santa Fe more often than Santa Fe people come to Albuquerque. So it is interesting.
Yes, that's a whole nother program, Ms. Wilkins.
Yeah.
But all right, so it's not doomed from the beginning just because I mean we're relatively new to the state. We've traveled around down to the southeast, and we've gone up north, and some people go, oh, Placitas, and other people go, where? Halfway between Santa Fe and up.
Yeah.
But Santa Feans, they know who we are.
I think so, because they see, among other things, they see the exit sign on the freeway.
Okay. Maybe they just are looking for the Range Cafe.
Yeah, that's right. And the Range is pretty well known.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think Placitas is better. No,
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Will there be other communities surrounding Placitas that will be having their own group, like the Bernal?
Actually, I've heard that there's a fairly large group from Corrales heading to Santa Fe.
Didn't want to team up?
Well, we wanted to be a Placitas presence. The other thing that I learned this morning is that the group from Corrales is likely to charter a bus, which sounded very expensive per person. So we weren't willing to do that.
True. And it kind of limits where you can go.
Yeah.
And,
I don't know that is true, so
Yeah.
that was just what one person who attended this morning.
Sure. All right, well, let's get to the meat of the matter. It's the Women's March on Washington. It's represented in cities around the country.
Mm-hmm.
What is the date?
January 21st,
Okay.
the day after the Trump inauguration.
And what day of the week is that?
Saturday.
Saturday. Okay. I'm free.
Good. I hope you'll attend.
So then there's nothing to, just because it's the Women's March, it doesn't exclude
Definitely
other
not.
genders.
No.
I guess there's more than one now.
Not at all. Everybody is invited. Everybody who cares to be a presence and support the mission of the march.
To your knowledge, has there been anything like this in prior elections?
Well, there's certainly been marches in Washington in my experience, I don't remember one that was specifically tied to an inauguration.
Right.
But I'm not an historian,
Right.
so I have not participated.
Which I find interesting, because I'm trying to remain objective on this and just ask what people would want to know.
Mm-hmm.
So please, no hate mail regardless of what side you're on, please. What's different about this? Because there have been other elections, at least in my lifetime, where I felt it was really, really close.
Mm-hmm.
And people didn't go all nutty. Not that this is nutty, but this reaction is a different reaction than I've seen.
I think I have met people all around New Mexico and actually been in touch with friends around the country who know a lot of communities that are scared. So the Trump rhetoric that preceded the election was scary to a lot of people. And I think what people are feeling is the need to be close with others who share their views and to say that there are still safe communities here around the country.
Again, not picking a political party or a belief system, because I think that you can't necessarily say the belief system is tied to the party anymore, at least not
Right.
when I remember when I voted for Truman.
Right.
You know, things were different then.
Back in the day.
Yeah, I was a Dewey man, but you know, people weren't afraid like when Cheney became president. I mean, Bush Jr. Both of them were very outspoken, conservative people, and there weren't.
But their campaigns were not characterized by this sort of speech that many people hear as hate speech.
Right.
So the comments during the campaign targeted at specific groups of individuals, and the portrayal of women in the campaign was very scary to a lot of people. So I certainly have never seen that or felt that before.
Do you think well, obviously there are things going on global politically that anyone running for office should say, this is how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps not as strongly as was said, but I kind of expect that. But were there things said specifically about women that was a departure from Mr. Trump's general public persona?
I think the issue about women was really brought in focus with the videos that were shared by the news outlets.
Right.
And the sort of infamous now Trump comment about it just being locker room talk.
Right.
So this was out for the American public to view, to hear Trump talk about or avoid talking about, and there were no repercussions.
Right.
And that to a lot of people is extremely worrisome.
You've been around various organizations, big organizations. Probably, even though you're, just getting the senior menu at Denny's, you probably a lot of your professional career was with man-dominated institutions.
Universities,
Right.
which still are male-dominated, yes.
And, I mean, I'm always surprised when people say, "Oh, it's locker room talk. It's not acceptable." When I have been in groups of executives, probably, and there might have been a woman or two there, these educated pillars of the community say things that is like,
stunning.
It's inappropriate.
Yeah.
But so I'm going to myself, okay, I don't like that. That's not the way I want it to be. But that's the way it is. So why is it because this gentleman was running for president?
Well, I think it is because he was running for president and the amount of power he will have starting January 20th. So it's not only that that he has spoken this way, that he has apparently acted this way, but that he is moving into an office where that can make a difference.
Right.
This is completely unprecedented in my lifetime in the United States.
Okay.
And
that's why I asked, because I don't know.
And beyond that, I am not in a demographic that has reason to be particularly scared or nervous about a Trump presidency. But many people we know, and perhaps in New Mexico more than elsewhere, there are people who are extremely vulnerable and who are extremely frightened that Trump will actually enact some of the things that he said during the campaign.
See, I don't. That's another question mark that I have. You know, the old question balloon goes up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said some very strong things that would be really involved to do, and I guess it's up to the individual as to whether you think it's a good thing to do or an effective thing to do. You might agree with his, you know, what his goal is, but maybe the way he's going about it you don't agree with. But of the politicians we've heard at high levels, because they have to talk about a whole variety of and wide breadth of things, how many of them actually do what they say they were going to do?
Well, yeah, we can all hope that Trump was just lying.
Well, or just statistically,
Yeah.
The things that they have to say or they feel they have to say to get elected, how much of that just kind of crumbles after that first day, and the CIA is there and they go, okay, bring these two guys in. All right, these are the guys from the Roswell crash. Okay, here's John Kennedy. You know, he lives in the West Wing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden things seem to fall apart.
Something that's additionally scary is the individuals that Trump is naming to head agencies and to serve in his cabinet.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. So.
Because I think those people are more dangerous. I mean, just me.
Possibly
I shouldn't give my
than Trump
opinion,
himself.
but
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
they have different resumes than I thought they would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's putting it mildly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, because I guess university presidents, whatever, they don't deal with the day-to-day stuff.
Right.
So the cabinet,
Does.
those are the guys that you
Yep.
have to be concerned with.
Yep.
Now, I have done a very informal, inaccurate poll, so it's probably as good as CNN. But I'm out and about a lot, and I, much to my wife's chagrin, I talk to a lot of people about things I shouldn't talk to them about. And wandering around, you see a lot of people who are New Mexican and people who are more Mexican Hispanic who live in our community.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll ask them, from people who work at the hospital to the people who do my hair. I don't know what they do to my hair, but I give them money and it looks different. And of the people who have some kind of Hispanic background, I'd say at least 60% were not concerned. They were aware of what Trump was saying, but they didn't go down to the protest downtown. They thought a lot of those people were hoodlums, which sometimes protesters, at least the ones who get on the news, are.
Mm-hmm.
So did I just ask the wrong people?
Well, I don't think that was a scientific survey.
Oh, admittedly.
Yeah.
It's just
I mean,
people in my community. Are you people worried? And if you are, what are you doing about it? And they're not doing. I mean, even the ones who didn't think it was, they were concerned what would happen. They didn't really know what they could do.
The professional community that I'm most aware of is the university communities, so New Mexico State and UNM, and there's a lot going on the campuses now. So both institutions, the faculty of both institutions are hoping that the institutions will become sanctuary campuses. So there is a great deal of worry about the prospects for the DACA students, for other Hispanic students where the faculty feel that those students shouldn't have to worry about whether they're documented or undocumented.
Right.
Great worry about whether university leadership will continue to protect the rights of all students. So I see that that's very real, and that's very real in the lives of individual students, and a great worry for, I think, the majority of faculty members, not all. There are faculty members who are also Trump supporters. And I see that in the message boards and the conversations going on at the universities.
Yeah.
But by and large, there's worry. There's worry in New Mexico among the families of grade school students. So grade school students saying to their teachers, will Mommy and Daddy be okay?
Right.
Will I be okay? And that's not a good learning environment.
No, but I hate to take the
other
opposite
side.
side, but there's nobody else here.
Yeah.
You've traveled around the world.
Mm-hmm.
I've been outside the United States. You know, actually thought about expatriating once to Portugal, as a matter of fact. There was so much documentation. You know, sort of, I needed papers, I needed permission. I couldn't stay more than like 90 days without going into Spain for a day and then coming back, even if I bought a house. I couldn't begin to expect to put my children in their school. And I'm not saying that they're right and we're wrong, but that seems to be the global standard. What is wrong with us wanting to do that too? Other than me and you. We're all good guys.
I think the best example of sort of a potential harm,
Right.
From a change in policy, actually not even a change in policy, from a change of policy enforcement, has to do with the children who were born here of undocumented parents. So these are not individuals who chose to break some law.
Right.
These are individuals now who are very worried, not only because of their documentation status, but that they were led to believe that revealing their documentation status would be a good thing for them to do under Obama's initiatives. They're especially worried now, or so I gather from reading what's going on at the universities, which is
Right.
just a little bit of a different news source from the Washington Post, the Times, the Albuquerque Journal,
Right.
and others.
Der Spiegel.
Yeah. Right.
Which I think is great to read some of their headlines.
Yeah,
You get a different
yeah.
perspective. I don't know about Drudge. That's a little too much. But there again, no information is bad information. So, all right, am I overemphasizing the immigration portion of the importance of this march?
Well, the initiative, I believe, and the reason it's being called a Women's March, has to do with attitudes towards gender issues.
Okay.
But I mean, it's so many different aspects of our daily community life feel at risk. I'm also a member of the Placitas Havara, the Jewish group that gets together. I found it completely stunning that we're suddenly hearing talk about Israel's capital being Jerusalem and the potential to move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. There are Palestinians in the world. There are Palestinians who
Right.
are now even more concerned about what's going on with Israel. So we haven't even had an inauguration yet, and these discussions about Tel Aviv versus Jerusalem,
Right.
with very little evidence of any study of what the impact of that could mean in the Middle East. So part of it is worry about the apparent lack of knowledge and still willingness to speak out of the person who's moving into possibly, or the position that's been characterized as
Right.
the most powerful in the world.
Sure.
Somebody with
Times
very
10.
little knowledge of what impact rhetoric can have or positions can have.
Yeah, but we've had presidents like that before.
I
Not
think
that
to this
excuses
degree,
him.
Not to this
Yeah.
degree.
Now, again, I don't want to get into
Yeah.
global politics, but I'm not that familiar with the moving of the capital of Israel. Is that, from what you know, motivated by the United States or motivated by the Israelis?
Well, again, there are Israelis and Israelis. So I have Israeli family members who are not supporters of the Netanyahu government,
Okay.
for example. So,
Well, he's
so
a controversial man.
He's a very controversial man. But there have been so many working for so long for a two-state solution in the Middle East that protects the rights of the Palestinians as well as the Israelis.
Right.
And to have a president elected in the United States suddenly apparently taking such a strong side in this, I think is very scary for those of us who care about prospects for peace in the Middle East, which are hard enough under the best of circumstances.
Right. Yeah, I guess having no basis to have a considered opinion, on the surface it would sound to me like it's just throwing a monkey wrench in the works.
Yeah?
So, all right, let's move on. I live in the United States. I'm younger. I'm not Hispanic. I'm some kind of white dude. I'm sorry, I'm some kind of white woman.
Yeah.
What should my concerns be?
Well, I know that there are many who are very worried right now about the future of Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security. So that affects, there has been in the news lately this initiative to repeal everything that FDR put in place.
Right.
I think that should be scary to everybody.
I don't know if you are a wagering person or not.
You think that won't happen?
That's just
Well,
noise, isn't it?
I hope.
Because
I hope.
you can't
See,
do
I'm
that
already on Medicare, so I figure, relatively speaking, I'm safe. You know, I'm already collecting Social Security.
Right.
But for people coming up in the next generation of individuals hoping to have those protections and those, those programs available as
Right.
they move into old age, I think it's a very scary prospect to think that they might go away.
Oh, I feel horrible because I have not put any additional life on this planet that I know of. But thank God we can edit that out of 20
Yeah.
minutes and 27 seconds. But friends, acquaintances who have children who are like 40, kind of in the middle of their career, people have grandchildren, I can't help but feel could be bad times for them.
There's also the entire planet Earth. You know, so we
I've
can
heard of
worry
that.
about you know, the prospects for the old age, the well-being and old age of American citizens. But some of the things that are being talked about literally affect the future of the planet.
Sure.
You know, this is beyond anything that I can even conceptualize in terms of you know, how to work more in support of science. So in my world, okay, admittedly it's a university world, but in my world, science doesn't have a political party.
Correct.
You know, learning from what we discover through good science doesn't seem to be on the agenda of the incoming administration.
Unless you have the
And
science to make lead into gold. That's
that would be
political.
good. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. But you know, the impact that 4 years, or God forbid 8 years, of a Trump administration and climate change deniers or climate change skeptics can have on the future of the planet are just beyond imagining to me.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, I don't know where I weigh in on it, but it seems to me that unless you change altitudes and latitudes every 6 months, if you've stayed place for 5 years, you'd have to see that something is different. Maybe it's the normal flow, maybe it's the moon getting too close, maybe it's, you know, the reptile people coming in. All right, so maybe at this point, we should talk about, can you stack rank the things? This is the most scary, this is, or
Me
maybe,
personally.
well, you're involved in the march, you have read more of the literature, and it doesn't have to be the most important, but say the top 5 things in no specific order that we hope to accomplish by this march on January 21st.
Well, I think the
Santa Fe.
purpose of march, or of a march, or the purpose of taking political action, is to demonstrate that there is a population, there is a group willing to say, we will protest.
Right.
You know, so it's the power of numbers. It's the power of saying, it's the ability of a group of people to say, we don't, we're not going to sort of take this lying down, as it were.
Right.
That there is an opposition, that there is power to be had by coming together and speaking relatively with one voice. That there are citizens that will get together and say no.
Not to put words in your mouth, but is it kind of, am I hearing correctly to hear, the group is not saying, we don't want you as president. I mean, well, you don't want him as president, but you're not asking for an eviction. You just want this person that is going to be president to pay a lot more attention to the issues that are being brought up by the march.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because aren't there still people who want to secede from the Union, or recount, or?
I'm sure there must be.
But there's no big
organization.
organization.
That is
Okay.
no. No, this is well, the group that assembled here today in Placitas, the name that the group decided to have for itself is Placitas Solidarity.
Okay.
So I think the idea is to say there are a group of us who are willing to come together in solidarity to say these are the values that we share. And if people go onto the website to see the list of organizations supportive of the Washington March and supportive of the Santa Fe March, who's speaking, who's going to be a voice and a presence there, people will get some sort of idea of the sort of groups that are coming together in solidarity to say we are still a presence in this country and in this state and in this capital.
Not going to get Lech Walesa to come in.
I don't think so.
No. Is he still alive?
I don't think so.
Oh. But that's
Yeah.
that's kind of like going, Viva Che in Cuba.
Yeah.
But that guy was what, a longshoreman or something, and he had an impact because he's doing what you all are doing.
Yeah.
So it's in some ways it's really a positive thing. I think people might go, oh, there's a women's march against Trump, rather that it's, I don't know if it's exactly the same, but I was a little young for this, but I remember high school students and college students protesting against the war in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
It was all very peaceable. It was peaceful. It was, we're not telling you to go away. We're just telling you, we the people, this is what we want.
Mm-hmm.
So is that a fair analogy?
Yes, this is not being characterized as an anti-Trump march. There is a mission, and I would encourage people to go online and to read the mission statement. And it's a positive statement. So this is what we are marching in favor of.
Let's get that website address.
Let's get that.
Okay.
Let's see. I should have this memorized. It is for the Santa Fe website.
Right.
It's wmwsf.net.
Okay.
And I can read the mission statement if that would.
Certainly.
To stand together in solidarity with our partners and children for the protection of our rights, our safety, our health, and our families, recognizing that our vibrant and diverse communities are the strength of our country.
Who could have a problem with that?
Who could?
Which begs the question, who's got the biggest problem with this? Who's in the media is making noise?
A problem
Negative noise.
with the incoming administration.
Oh, no,
or
with the march.
Oh,
Is there any bad press?
actually, I haven't seen any bad press.
Neither have I. Isn't that amazing?
That's very interesting. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it until you just brought it up now.
Because, I know it's not usually very obvious, but I do attempt to prepare for these interviews.
Yeah.
And, I spent a half hour or so just surfing the web.
Yeah, I have not found negative press. Well, it is still a month away. There's certainly negative press about many of the organizations that are supporting the march, like Planned Parenthood.
Right.
And other such groups. But about the march itself, you're right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Planned Parenthood
Yeah.
seems, I'm not sure the depth and breadth of what they do,
Mm-hmm.
but I know some of the things that they do, and it seems like, at least the part that I know about that's good, is worthwhile keeping. Rather than saying dump Planned Parenthood, maybe change the rules a little bit, or I don't know.
I don't think we have it, since I have to get home, we don't have time to talk about support for women's right to choose, but it'll be a whole other interview.
Okay. And you're welcome to come back anytime to do that. All right. Any other news you've heard of people like Planned Parenthood are supporting it, promoting it, getting their membership to go in?
Actually, for both the Washington March and for the Santa Fe March, there is a long list of co-sponsors and supporters and speakers. So again, I encourage people to go online and see who that is. I also want to mention that there is also a march in Albuquerque.
Yes.
The fact that we have chosen to, that Placitas Solidarity has chosen to participate in the Santa Fe March is not meant to sort of
You're not
any way.
competing.
It's not competition. And I think there are many people who will find it much easier to participate in Albuquerque. And there is also a Facebook site and a website for the Albuquerque March.
If people don't want to go to Santa Fe in your fleet of stretch limos that you're renting to go of, if they just want to meet up there,
We're thinking of the rail runners.
Will that get you close enough?
Well, actually, what we found is that the rail runner only runs once in the morning and once in the afternoon on Saturday, which is too bad. So it's going to be rather tight. So I think in our group, people are planning to carpool.
Okay.
And go up and hope to find.
But if they're not part of your 25
Oh,
BFFs,
should absolutely go.
Well,
Yes.
but where do they go? Do they go to the plaza?
The march begins at the Baton Memorial Building, and then there's a rally at the state capitol.
Okay.
And again, all this information is on the website.
All right. And because we do stream on KUPR.org, and there are people from around the country, because you have friends and relatives around, they hopefully will stream every now and then. They can go just search on Women's March on Washington, and they can find their local chapter if they want to participate in theirs.
Right. Even abroad. So there are.
Well, we call them women.
There's. No,
I know. It's very politically
there are
correct.
marches in. I think the last time I looked, something like 12 or 15 cities in other countries. So this could.
That would be
could
interesting.
in fact be a worldwide initiative.
If I have some spare time when I'm editing this, I think I'm going to look and see what they're doing in Barcelona or in Paris.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
There are a number of countries in Europe, a number of countries in Latin America so far.
Anybody that you're aware of, any country that is just having a hissy fit over the inauguration? Like, oh, we're doomed, or just another American presidency?
Because of my horse dressage connections, I know a number of. I have a number of friends in Germany and Austria, and there is great concern being expressed by communities in those countries.
For female horses?
Well, for
the female
the
residents?
politics and what's happening in politics of the United States, but that is not by any means a
No.
representative sample.
No, but it is. I mean, we're all adults here. The world is getting messy.
Yeah.
But maybe it's the storm before the calm.
I hope
Yes,
that would be
we
a
got
boring
good thoughts going out to everybody,
yeah.
especially for everyone who listens to the KUPR Placitas. All right, parting words are like your favorite newscaster, Bill O'Reilly, will give you the last word.
Well, I would just hope that everybody listening or viewing this will have a look at those websites and will join us on January 21st.
And the website, again, do you remember? You have it right there.
I'll go back to this. It's Women's March in Washington, Santa Fe, so it's WMWSF.net.
.net. Super. There it is. Big times here in Placitas and in the state, and no matter where you fall, things are going to change.
Yeah.
And hopefully all for the better, and not, well, we'll just
I'm
keep
going to call
having
you Pollyanna from now on.
Okay. Well, see, you know me well enough. I drink heavily, so that solves everything. For Conversations with Matthew Bronson on KUPR 99.9 FM from the high desert of Placitas, New Mexico, and ABQLive.tv, this is Matthew Bronson. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Oh, baby, get ready. Oh, get ready for Matthew Bronson.